and they're right here on the shores of Lake Oahe themselves. He was up helping me pre-fish yesterday and sharing some of the information that he had. And in a reservoir of this size, it's just massive. I mean, you know, gosh, you couldn't cover a 10-mile stretch and thoroughly cover it yourself in days. So it does help to kind of network with some folks. He shared some interesting things, a few methods that I had yet to try, pulling some reef runners, getting them down on lead core in some of the deeper depths, some of this edge break type stuff that we were talking about earlier. So that was interesting. Shared some of the areas, and you know, hopefully it'll pan out for us. But if anything, it helps put the puzzle together a little bit. And if anything, it isn't always so much as where and what they caught fish on, it's eliminating water too. You know, because gosh, they could cover an area and say, you know, we just did everything and it was just no good, or we didn't mark much fish, or whatever the case may be. Well, then I know I don't need to waste my time there. I can move on and kind of look for greener pastures. So it does help to share information. One thing with that too is if you do work with people, don't hold anything back. Be 100% honest with them. You know, you'll see that it returns really good dividends for you in the long run, because if you BS people, you're going to get the same back. Of in here, obviously a lot of catfish, fairly common to catch them. Silver bass, lots of silver bass, good population of drum. The smallmouth bass are something that's totally overlooked out here, and believe it or not, for you smallmouth aficionados, they're almost a pest for us. You know, they really are, because we're after these walleyes, and I mean, you can get into them and they will just literally beat the snot out of you. You know, it's something that's underfished, underutilized, you know, and we catch the heck out of them on accident. God forbid somebody come out here and knew what they were doing with them, you know, so you know, nobody really touches them. Occasionally you'll see somebody fish them in some of the more southern reservoirs like Sharp or Francis Case, but up here in Oahe, they're literally untouched other than by accident. So, you know, on any given day, you know, I've done it myself. The walleye fishing's tough. A lot of times you go up shallow, start throwing crankbaits into wind-blown points right up on the rocks, and get those smallies and salvage a day, and they're fun to catch. There's no doubt about it. We've also got Chinook salmon in here. They're a stock population, but that's an important fishery, you know, pretty popular. A lot of folks are into that. You know, just about anything you want's in the doggone thing. So, you know, a guy can come out here, may not always be your target fish, but you're going to catch fish over the course of a day. You know, you're going to have some fun. All right, we got spun back around on this piece of structure here. Just going to get started. Method that was developed right here out here on Hawaii is a slow death method. A lot of folks are becoming fairly familiar with it. No longer a secret that it once was. Tournament fishermen kind of kept her kind of tight. What I've done is I've developed a particular leader system that we run for JB Lures, where we're running a 4mm, then an 8mm bead down to a small propeller, and it adds just a little bit more attraction, a touch of flash. This worm will spin somewhat erratically in the water, and it just adds to it. And on most days, I think that does help. And this is something where we just pinch a crawler in half. I slide him up most of the way, leave a little tag end, pull him out so he's riding basically horizontal on the hook like so. Drop it in the water, let it swirl and do its thing. At least as of yesterday, that was probably a little bit more prevalent on the number of bites. This one I use for a handheld rod. I'll get it back over on the right side where I do want it. Talk about what you have in your hand. Okay. On a dead rod, what I'm going to run is a longer rod here, got a little more flexibility. It's nice. The fish can load up, not feel you so much. I do run this off a fixed bouncer, a little more trouble-free as opposed to the sliding bouncer that I run on my handheld rod. A little bit longer leader, about a 6-foot leader. Coming down to the same Mustad slow death hook, but with this we're running a small bead and a small, the 0.8 size Max Lure Smile Blade on there. And I actually run a leech on there, which sounds kind of goofy, but it seems to work. We're getting the same twirling motion, and to accentuate that, what I do is I hook the leech as you typically would, if we can get that, through the sucker. But I don't stop right there. I turn around, back that hook so it's just about out again. I run that right through the meat of that leech, and I run it through a ways. So in effect, I've got that double hooked. And what that'll do is that'll really make that leech spin as it goes through the water. And that, with a combination of that off-centered smile blade, can really do the trick. It looks goofy as heck, but it is effective. The trim tab. And what we're doing out here, one of the options that I had put on this Warrior boat is I had trim tabs put on. A lot of folks don't associate that with freshwater boats. But what it's allowing me to do is it's moderately rough out here. With these white caps, I'm going with the waves, which is one of the more difficult ways to travel. And what I've done is I can adjust the trim tab. So I've got the bow set down. We're running basically 100% level. Not running full throttle. I certainly could if I wanted to. I'm running pushing 50 miles an hour on this stuff. And as you can see, it's as comfortable as it can be. I literally can't say enough about them. My third or fourth day using them, to be honest with you, I would not have known about them. In case an otherwise good boat, good big water boat, it makes it infinitely adjustable. So no matter what the conditions are, we can just find through this thing. We've got a comfortable ride. None of our stuff is flying around. You know, we get where we want to go. Everything's sitting there ready to use. And you've got a good attitude, which helps a lot too. You're not keeping yourself all beat up. You know, we've got about a 12-mile ride. It's just easier and heavier. Clear, less than Go. Not showing very good for them. Mount rod holders are real easy to use. Toss it in. You get a bite. The nice thing with these too is I generally just let them hang themselves. Let them load that rod up. These ram holders, all you got to do is use just one motion. You just lift up. There it is. You got tension on it. You get a hold of your reel. Never gets any slack line. And you know, it's about a 90% hookup rate when they do actually get that rod tip bent over. To be honest with you, at times I think the dead rod is better than the handheld rod for the simple reason is the human can't screw it up. Because you get nervous and oh, is he there? And you're dropping line, and you're pulling back, and you're monkeying around with them. You know, you just leave the thing there, let them load that rod tip up. Eventually there's enough tension there with the premium hooks. They got a little weight there, you know, they're hung. You see the rod pound, you know, they're there. Just simply lift them up and reel them in. I'm going to adjust the boat here and we'll try to get these.